If you're looking to grow an online coaching business, or if you've already started an online business and you want to focus on coaching, well, this video is for you. As I chat to Adam Chatterley, he has managed to grow his online business focusing on coaching, but not only that, he's managed to grow this business in the beauty industry. And this is just proof that there's so many ways to make money online. There's so many markets you can go into. If you are a coach and you're looking to take your business online, watch today's interview as Adam Chatterley talks about how he has grown his online coaching business in the beauty industry and how it's actually taken him 4 years to do that. Some of the things that he would have done differently if he would have started all over again, but now how he runs a 6-figure company all online and with minimal team. So I'm going to dive straight on over into the interview I had earlier with Adam. Make sure you take notes and I hope you enjoy. Hey Adam, how you doing? Where are you calling in from today? And thanks very much for your time and jumping on to have a chat with me today.
No problem, Tim. I'm actually back in the UK at the moment, which is where I'm from. But as you know, we now live in Valencia, but we're just back home visiting some friends. But no, it's good. Weather's good. Kids are at the grandparents, so we've got some peace and quiet for a change.
Excellent. So you're back over for a little bit of summer holiday and escaping the ridiculous heat in Spain.
Yes, although it's just starting to cool off again now. But yeah, it has been crazily hot. So yes, we've come back for some cool weather.
Nice. So yeah, let's start off with first of all, thanks for your time. Let's start off with, do you have like one fun fact that not many people would know about you that you'd like to share, that if someone first met you, you could say, hey, this is me?
Oh, I don't know if it's the first thing that I would share, but as in terms of a fun fact, a little known thing, I grew up with 3 of the members of the Kaiser Chiefs, and wow. Still quite good friends to this day. But the short version is I was in an early version of the Kaiser Chiefs, but the real story behind that is I was in a band when I was 16 with 3 of the guys who went on to become the Kaiser Chiefs. There was a very big break in the middle, so it was not like I was almost a Kaiser Chief. But yes, I grew up with a few of those guys.
That's very cool. I would change that story slightly myself.
I was absolutely
cool. Okay.
A founding member of the Kaiser Chiefs.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's chat about everything sort of systems and online business. Look, what's your background? I know you're in a very unique niche or niche, depending on where you're from in the world. So I'd love to get into how you ended up starting an online business that you have today in your chosen niche. But what is your background in terms of before the online business started? What was your background?
Well, it really has been this sort of this progression, this journey, I guess. My background is actually going right back to the start, it was in creating software systems for golf clubs and spas inside of 5-star hotels. So this is back in kind of 2000, and computerized hotel management systems were kind of starting to become a thing. And obviously when that was in place, the other businesses associated with them, the restaurants, the golf clubs, this new thing called spas that were kind of cropping up, they wanted these same kind of business information systems as well, but they just didn't exist. So my background at university was in management processes, and I ended up getting recruited by this software company to help them understand how to build software that would actually be useful in running a spa. So that's how I kind of fell into the spa world. And from there, it sort of progressed. That first company I ended up doing a management buyout of. That was probably my first company. From there, I left that and set up a consultancy company, again, going out, working the same customers really, to help them either find or create the right software for them. That then actually kind of the next iteration on was software systems that integrated with each other. So you didn't just have one system for the spa and the golf club and the restaurant and the hotel. You had things that talked to each other. And from there, I ended up creating some of those integrations, which then led me to owning a software company, which I realized I hated. And it took me 8 years to get rid of that software company. But somewhere along that journey, I realized that the thing that I really got a kick out of was helping businesses to succeed, to helping them to grow. And I think I'd always done it with different tools, with the software and various things like that. But I realized if I could remove the software bit out of it, I enjoyed everything else. So I kind of went a little bit back to consultancy, fell out of love with that in terms of working with corporates. This was in 2017-ish. No, it wasn't. This was in 2008, when, just before the great big crash. And I realized I actually wanted to help independents, but I couldn't do that in the same model, because working with independent skin clinics, beauty salons, spas, they couldn't afford the $1,000 a day consultancy fees. So I had to find a different way of helping them, but working with them in a different model. And it wasn't like I started out going, I want an online business. I realized that this was going to be the only way that I could work with a larger number of people, but charging a small amount of money, but still make the money that I needed to make. And it was just as a lot of kind of the online courses, the really early online courses, the ones that you ordered and they came on a bunch of DVDs, those were just coming out, and podcasts were just starting up. So I sort of thought, I've always been a little bit techie, and I thought, well, podcast sounds like a fun idea. Let's do one of those and let's create a course and I'll be a millionaire overnight. Didn't entirely happen. But that's kind of how I ended up doing what I do now online. Is it's been this progression, and I've realized I genuinely like getting involved with the businesses. It needs to be done virtually because I can't afford, it would be too expensive to physically go and be in these places. But now with the tools we've got on the internet, I don't need to.
That's a great story. And we met back in 2017, was it?
2017, November.
Southern California. We were at an online business conference, and that's where we met. What sort of stage were you at with your, was that right at the start, or had you already started the online business?
I'd already started the online business, but I'd say looking back now, I was still running it more as a hobby / side project. Yeah. It was something I was kind of intrigued by and kind of knew I wanted to shift into it, but I think I had that doubt of, could I actually make this work as a career? Because I still had the software company at that point, which was bringing in money. It was, it was generating money. I'd fallen out of love with it. I worked in it as little as I possibly could, but I couldn't let it go because it was still bringing in the vast majority of my income. And I think it was that conference that I went to where I think something else had happened that year. We'd gone traveling, and I realized, this is what I want. I want to be able to do something that doesn't tie me to a single location so I can go traveling. And I sort of thought, I've got to do something that kind of makes me go a bit more all in. And that conference popped up at the right time. And I just thought, I'm going to make this big move, go out to California, kind of convince myself that this works for other people, to try and give me the confidence to make me believe it would work for me. So that really was, I'd say that was the real jumping off point from going, actually, I'm going to make this my full-time thing now. Yeah,
very cool. Because there's loads of ways of making money online, right? But I think it's, what is the stat now? Like 4 out of 5 online businesses fail, or businesses in general. So I think it's having that passion about, this is something that I really want to do, and this is something I'm like a 10 out of 10 motivation. Otherwise, if I come to a couple of roadblocks there, I'm not going to,
and it is a long game. You were just saying a second ago, it is not this kind of sort of story that we're fed that you can just, go out, create one course, put it online.
Fantastic marketing.
And then suddenly I can sit on a beach with my laptop, answer a couple of emails a day and never have to work again. It's, I don't know, maybe that's worked for a couple of people in the history of the internet, but that's not the story for the vast majority of people. And there'll always be setbacks. Things never grow as quick as you want. There's so many tools to learn and all these kind of things that it's very easy to go backwards. But one of the things, you asked me about some sort of either stories or things that I wish I'd done differently.
Yep.
And it was at that point that I realized that if I kept trying to do both things, the software business and this, it was never going to go anywhere, because this was always going to be the lower priority to, something serious happening in the other business. So,
and the software business, I guess, at the time was generating the revenue, right? But you weren't passionate about it. And there's this thing that you were passionate about, but wasn't generating the revenue yet. So you had to make that bold move.
I made for ages in the online business, I made the world's most stupid mistake, given that I have always been a business advisor. I didn't actually have anything to sell. I was so focused on this kind of list building, giving away value, creating the podcast, all these kind of things that, it was months in before I went, do you know what? there's one big reason that I'm not making any money in this. I've not actually got anything that I sell. It was all about creating the audience. And the first thing I did was create an ebook, and it made hardly any money. But I do remember that very first kind of sale that came in from someone that I'd never met, never spoken to, but had found my stuff, thought it was okay, paid me some money online. And that was the thing. That was the one moment I was like, got to make this work.
Yeah. If I can do this once, I can do it again and
100%.
again and again. Yeah. I think it was Brendan Bouchard said, like, you don't need to grow your team. You don't need to outsource. You need something to sell. That's the first thing you should be doing, is to generate revenue. That, like, if you narrow everything down to one thing in business, not just online business, you need to make revenue. So you need to sell something. And then working back from that, you need to have offers to put out there. And if you're not doing that, then how do you expect someone come and knock on your door?
Exactly. It's the craziest thing. And there's, even to this day, people talk about, have offers and build audience and all that stuff. And it seems like the most obvious thing in the world, but very few people actually go, right, have you got a thing to sell? Because if you haven't got a thing to sell, all of those stuff doesn't really matter very much.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, 100%. I know I'm really interested in systems, so anything that saves you stress, time, energy, and money. So in that sort of acronym, can you think of anything in the past that you've actually either struggled with or sort of come across that you actually systematized it or outsourced it or anything like that saved you stress, time, energy, or money, or make money? Like, any stories you can relate?
So many things. I mean, given again that the very first thing that I ever did in sort of real work was to take real world business problems and convert them into a language that developers could understand to turn it into software. That's kind of what I did. Yeah. So I kind of lost my way a little bit, but then when I really kind of figured out that I wanted this online business to work, but equally I also realized that I didn't want staff. I wanted to create a business that completely replaced all my income that I had from before, where I had staff, but I didn't want staff. I didn't enjoy having them. So everything had to become a system. I do have 2 VAs now, but I consider them my team. I don't consider them staff. I don't check in with them every day. I don't have to manage them. So they kind of tick that box. But yeah, one of the big things for me was to take technology out of the way, which sounds like something strange coming from someone who's so into technology. But whenever we had a challenge or a problem or something in the business that wasn't working or was a bottleneck or something like that, what I found was the best thing to do was stop trying to look at whatever system you're doing it on. Take the technology completely out of the way, take it back to a piece of paper, make it as simple as it can possibly be, figure out just the key moving parts that absolutely have to be there and what doesn't. And then once you've got that nailed down on a piece of paper, then start to look for the right tech, then start to convert it into the tech that you want to use. Going the other way around, you're always going to be working alongside the way whatever piece of tech works, which is never going to be the simplest way. Nowadays, so we've taken this to extreme now, every single system within our business has to fit on a single piece of paper, single piece of A4 paper. If it doesn't, it's already too complicated. And
love it.
Any one of my clients know, I mean, it's almost become a joke now. Every single thing I bring up, every one of my clients knows there's going to be a one-page worksheet coming at some point in this process, because I can't do anything without it now, because it's become the way my brain works. Yeah, if I can't fit it on a single piece of paper, it's too complicated already, in which case it needs work.
Yeah. And the more moving parts, the more likelihood they are to break or, I think, absolutely. The least moving parts, the better.
Totally. And I don't think there's any, and even to this day, we still regularly look at every single thing that we do and go, right, what can we remove? What can we take away? There's always going to be, I don't think there is a perfect system. So there's always going to be some bit that you can remove or shorten or make quicker or do something with. And I think that's it. We have a phrase now called simplify to amplify, and it's something that we truly believe in. It's like stop adding things to your business. So the world I work with now, like I said, was independent beauty business owners and skin clinic owners and spas. And there's this weird belief in my world that if they're not getting enough clients, or if revenue isn't hitting the numbers that they want, they seem to think the answer to that is to add more treatments. It's like, oh, we must need to add more treatments and then we'll get more clients. And I still have it somewhere in my office. I got this price list through from a local salon, not one of my clients, but a local salon. And it was like, trifold card. And it was just in tiny writing, just reams and reams of treatments. I was like, how on earth can they specialize in all these treatments and be good at them? Because there's so many going on. It was too much choice. It was just crazy. Every single business that we've worked with that thinks they needed to add more, we've always taken treatments away. And that's what's fixed the problem. Yeah. So it really is a case of when you think you need to add more stuff, it's much more likely that you need to clear stuff out of the way.
Yeah. Or you look at like Steve Jobs when he came into Apple, he reduced the product line. You look at Gordon Ramsay when he goes into kitchens, he reduces what the number of choices they have. Like my world from the Amazon background, like if you have too many different sizes and colors and options, a confused mind never buys. So 100%. It's very much about the simplicity is king. Definitely, I love that. Yeah. Cool. Any other stories, anecdotes that that you can think of and then we'll talk about sort of where you're at today.
I think the other one was I sort of alluded to this all in. You've got to kind of go all in sooner than you think. And what I mean by that is that story that I kept my old business for far too long. I know that if I'd have 2 years earlier gone, right, it's a risk, it's a gamble, but if I just get rid of that business and focus all my attention on this new business, I'd have been so much further forward than I am right now. Things would have happened quicker. I feel like I'd have been one of these, much more these bigger people that you hear about online who did make it because I'd have been there a bit earlier.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's if you have an idea and if you're passionate about it and you believe in it, don't run it as a side hobby. Prove that it's going to work by all means. Do have a proof of concept, make your first sale. But as soon as you realize that's what you want to do, make that the thing that you focus on.
Yeah. I think there's clarity in the transaction. So when people 100%. Actually do things, they're going to get so much feedback from actually doing the thing. And I totally agree with what you said is like, try it, like start small, like on the sidelines just to see if it works. Don't like quit your job and go all in. That's not what you're saying, right? You're saying like test it. And if there's something there, then absolutely commit to it. And this is a long game. If you're not a funnel hacker with a big ad budget, this is a long game. So 100%. Like creating content also, and building a business.
Nothing's forever. So it is a long game, and this is the biggest hurdle. So I have a program that we bring probably the younger businesses in that I tend to work with. They come into this program, and the hardest thing that I get them to understand is we're going to take whatever it is that they do. They may offer 5 different types of treatments, but we're going to take one of those things that they do, whether it's the one they like doing most or the one that makes the most money or whatever. We're going to pick one of those and we're going to absolutely focus on that for the next 6 weeks. And I have to get them to understand it doesn't mean you're not going to do anything else. We're just only going to talk about that one thing for 6 weeks. And if it works and we've picked the right thing and we get all the right clients, happy days. But equally, it's an experiment. It's not forever. And that's another thing. I think it's like go all in, but it doesn't have to be forever. But commit for a period of time, go all in on that for that period of time, get your results, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah. And the other cool acronym, FOCUS, follow one course until successful. So
I like that one as well. Oh, you're all about the acronyms today, Tim, aren't you?
Yeah. So what does your business look like now? And I know that you're residing in Valencia, in Spain. And we had the lucky coincidence of bumping into you and organising a...
You were our first
couple of visitors in Spain. And tell me about your life now. Was it all about the online lifestyle? Was it all about quality of life? And you've moved your family over to Spain. Tell me how your business is working for you now.
Yeah, it was so that I think it does go back to that 2017. We did a thing when my little boy was born where, well, my wife was on maternity leave. I already had half an online business and my consultancy business.
Yeah. So
we took 4 months off and we went traveling, which everyone thought we were crazy for doing, but we did it anyway. And it was the most amazing thing we've ever done. Yeah. So from that point on, it became, right, how can I take everything I do and make it so that I don't have to be in a fixed location for a permanent period of time? So ever since then, that was kind of the goal. I sort of tried to transition over. And like I said, I took too long. I should have just gone all in and said, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So in that way, I already had some online clients. So I think by 2019, I'd got to the point where the online stuff was bringing in the same amount as my previous businesses, but the two together was creating my overall income.
Yeah.
And then obviously coronavirus happened, and which was tough in two ways, partly because every single health and beauty business in the world shut. Not many people want a business coach when their business isn't, actually open. So what happened was the only place in the world that actually had businesses that were open was Australia and New Zealand. So all of my clients shifted to Australia and New Zealand. That's where I was getting the clients from. Those were the people who needed help. That's where I worked with. So it was a lot of very late nights. But halfway through that whole period, I realized, you know what? My entire income is now coming from online. I've kind of done what I needed to do. Now, it wasn't as much as I needed it to be, but it had forced me to kind of make that leap. So then coming out of it, it was just a case of, right, we need to build this up to the point where it's actually bringing in the overall revenue that I needed. Yeah. And then, then that became the goal of basically replace my income so that we could have the same lifestyle, but totally location independent. We achieved that, I think, probably early 2022. And then we sort of thought, well, what can we do with this now? We've done it. What are we going to do? So then the idea to spend a year in Spain came up, and we were like, can we do it? So we went on a couple of test runs, went out there for a few weeks. I still worked. It seemed to work okay. None of my clients seemed to mind that I was 1 hour time difference than I was before. So we just took the leap, and I have to say we've done it. We've been there 4 months now. It has had zero effect negatively on my business. In fact, everything's grown since then, to be honest, because I now have fewer distractions. I feel like I've got more time in the day. The lifestyle over there is so much more kind of laid back that weirdly it's focused my attention more. It's meant that when I'm in my office, I'm focused on work because I want to get the stuff done and get out to be able to be in the sun and enjoy the time lifestyle, with the family. So it has had a positive effect overall and zero downsides. Very cool.
Oh, well done. That's congrats. It's a big move, moving country and moving your whole family. And I'm sure your Spanish is coming along just great.
Un poco.
Cool. So, I mean, most of the people that watch this on the channel, they're either thinking about starting an online business or have just started an online business. What sort of advice could you give someone in that sort of stage, either thinking about starting or have just started? I mean, everyone starts a little bit messy. No one's got it all sorted out. No one has it all together. You scratch under the surface of any business and there's going to be a little bit of chaos, but it just depends on how much chaos. What sort of advice would you give to someone who's like watching this and thinking, okay, I'm going to take the plunge?
I would 100% find someone with a plan, a proven plan that has other clients that you like the style of. I mean, it's very difficult to make a decision on who to follow, but I would say if you like the way they market, what they do, if their clients have done something similar to what you want to do, they've been in business for a while, they've got, that proof out there, whether it's a podcast or a YouTube channel or testimonials or whatever, but find someone and follow their plan. Don't find 3 people and try to follow all of their plans. And don't over listen to the podcasts. Because this was a mistake I made. I tried to follow, at the time I started doing, Amy Porterfield was big, Pat Flynn, James Wedmore, all these big names. And they were all kind of saying the same thing, but they all had a slightly different angle. And I was listening to these podcasts, and you'd listen to one and you'd get all fired up. You go, oh, right, yeah, absolutely. I need to focus on my email list today. And then the other one would be going, you need to start a YouTube channel. Oh, I also need to start a YouTube channel. And I realized there was all this advice that was all kind of going in the same way, but it was just you were spreading too thin. So again, I think if I'd found one person that I liked and I just went, do you know what, I'm just going to listen to them and do what they tell me for a year, and I think you're going to go so much faster and further than trying to just listen to all the free stuff out there and try to do a bit of everything. So I'd say find someone or some system or something that you believe in and follow that. I would say don't try and sign up for all of the bits of software that you think you need to sign up to that everyone mentions. Again,
all of the courses,
all of the software, all of the website stuff, all of the plugins, all of the different scheduling things. Just, again, keep it really, really simple. Figure out the one thing that you need, work with that, do as much as you can with that. Start building an email list like today. Even if you've no idea what you're going to be doing, selling, how are you going to deliver it? Just start building a list of people today, because that list of people, even if they're not your ideal client, they're connected to your ideal client.
Yeah.
So if you do nothing else, 100% start an email list. And it doesn't matter which software you start on. Use MailChimp, it's free. And it's easy to switch afterwards. So yeah, those things, I think probably if I could have gone back and sort of kicked myself and gone, just do these things, don't try and do all of the things, I think I'd have been a lot further forward than I am.
Very sound advice. And you can obviously just generate an email list by giving away a free guide or a free PDF or a little bit of training or something that is behind the email list.
Still to this day, our number one method of collecting leads is we have one lead magnet now. Again, this was another trap I fell into. I thought you had to have 17 lead magnets because that's what the big guys did. Whereas actually, again, simplification, we have one lead magnet now. We've used the same one for 3 years. We gave it a bit of a polish off a couple of years ago to make it look a bit prettier. But one lead magnet, it's the only one we have. That brings in probably 70% of our leads. We get it out in front of people using Facebook ads. It's the only thing we do.
Wow. Fantastic. Awesome. Is there anything else that you wanted to add on the end? But I'll probably let you go because that's some great advice.
I think we've kind of covered everything. Yeah, but it is that. It's like my 3 things would be just, if you believe in it and you're passionate about it and you're kind of fed up with whatever you were doing before, just go in as soon as you can. Prove the concept. Find a method that you like and follow that and stick to it. There's going to be bumps. It's going to be up and down.
Yeah,
you kind of think your trajectory is going to go like that, but it kind of goes all like that, and eventually it will start to go up. It's a much slower game than all of the gurus will have you believe, but it's 100% worth it in the end.
Cool. If anyone's interested in the beauty business, where can they reach out to you? Where can they find you?
I am Beauty Business Secrets, I believe, on pretty much all platforms, with the exception of if you're into podcasts, just search for The Beauty Business Podcast, and you'll find a picture of me drinking a cup of tea on the cover of that.
Cool. I'll link that up in the show notes as well.
Cool.
But thank you very much for your time on the call. I know it's precious and you're visiting family, so
not a problem.
Much appreciated.
Pleasure.
And enjoy the rest of your time in the UK, and hopefully I'll see you back in Spain sometime.
100%. Yeah. See you soon.
So that's it. I hope you found this video helpful and you've got some tips and tricks from Adam's journey, and it's actually giving you a little bit of inspiration if you're just starting out on your journey. And for my personal journey, I've built 2 multiple 6-figure businesses in the past, and I follow a simple 5-step process. And if you want to get your hands on a PDF guide just outlining the process that I go through in setting up an online business, head over to timpeakman.com/5 steps and download your copy today. And I look forward to seeing you again on another video soon.